So that's really how you stay in this game as long as you possibly can. Just realize that, yes, there's a piece of it that is gone, but that tiny little piece, when you let go of that, actually creates the expansion to live and train and learn and educate yourself for so many more things, and kind of reset that lens of what's important and what's possible. You want to do this thing?
Yeah, I like that.
You ready? Are we going?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So we're going to be focused on a lot of upper body pulling today. Anytime we get into a big upper pull session, we want to think about two main things: vertical, horizontal. So horizontal is always a row, and then vertical, thinking about kind of like a pull up, but then finding all the ranges inside there as well is really important. When I'm starting to put a full workout together, I always try to move from the big lifts, a lot of stability. So we're gonna go snatch, grip, deadlifts, and probably the best thing you can do for an upper body pull as far as stabilizing your spine, working on big lats, big back, is going to be just a regular deadlift. But the more we can put our body at a disadvantage, the stronger we're gonna be. So by moving your arms out, creates much more difficult position to pull from. Wide back, wide lats, wide grip, everything grows. So we're just gonna go set to 6 here. It's pretty light. We'll bump this up to probably 2 1/4. Really focusing on driving those shoulders back and down, keeping a really stable spine. I lied. Someone took all the blues. So now we have to go red. We could go yellow, but that's soft. And this is how you end up doing too much right off the bat.
I also like how your warm up was straight into power snatches.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about it this week. The idea of post-activation potentiation, such a ridiculous word, but the idea that we can overload our system early and increase the complexity and the demand on the musculature, so you're recruiting as many muscle fibers as possible. That way when you get into working sets, when you get into higher volume stuff, your body's prepared for a really high output, but we're only going to be doing a fraction of that, even if it's for more reps. So think about the idea of like warming up with a really heavy power snatch. Everything else is a little bit easier because you've already tuned your body into being more athletic, being faster at the bar, moving decent weight with speed. If you're thinking about kind of power snatching or PRing your back squat, instead of trying to hit 405, you could walk out like 450, but not squat it. So then your brain and your body recognize like, we have 450 on our back, this is scary. We need all of the muscle fiber recruitment right now. Then you put it back in the rack. You don't actually get tired. You've just told your body and brain that it's time to be strong. And then once you come back down, 405 seems really easy because your body's already prepared for 450. So it's a lot of science. Coach Travis Mash has been working on some stuff. In our 20 rep back squat program, we put a heavy triple at the beginning of every working set. And that's literally because we want you to be able to take whatever your 20 RM is, or whatever you're building up to for the 20 for the day, put somewhere near a 3 RM on the bar. That way when you come back down, It's really simple. The first 10 reps should be much lighter just because you've already tuned your body up to a really heavy weight. Now we're getting into it. That was set 1. I feel like that's too big of a jump. You don't want to do that right now.
One thing to hold on.
I have this half-baked theory that after 23 years of lifting really heavy weights, that if I just did legs one day and upper body pulling one day, I could maintain at least 90% of my strength for the remainder of my life. If I just did lower body push and pull, squats and deads, and then upper body rowing and pull-ups, because everything else is really just accessory from there. I don't really need to press that much. In fact, I press probably twice a month. I go overhead more than I do like bench. The ability to like keep your core stabilized, which is a massive piece. You're gonna get that all from squats and deads. And then if you can really just grow your back so you can stabilize your spine, stay away from low back pain, I feel like you can do it. I'm never gonna try it though, because that means I could only train twice a week. That would fucking suck. No, I would go nuts. I mean, it would be really cool to try it, but I really just like being in here too much to want to do that, and then it would eliminate so much of the idea of play. I really struggle not experimenting and learning something new when I'm in here. Like, how many different ways can I take this barbell and do rows? What can I learn each time that I'm trying to do rows or deadlifts? Those are the parts that like really make training fun now. I actually got a question the other day. We're probably gonna do it on a podcast this week, but like if you've been really good at CrossFit and you learned a ton of information, and every time you learned a new lift or it got better or you PR'd your weights, it was super motivating, so you wanted to keep going, but then you fall off. And what's like the new thing that motivates you? Well, for me, it's the learning process, and how many different ways can I view a deadlift or learn something from a deadlift. And I think a lot of people, especially, I mean, it's in a way asking like, well, my competitive career in CrossFit or Olympic weightlifting's over, why do I still work out? Because you transcend the competition, or you transcend that person that you were a decade ago, so that you can grow into the new person or thing and find out what's important for you about deadlifts now. And now it's about being able to deadlift for the rest of my life, live pain-free, never have to worry about things I can or can't do, like just making a joke that I could found a 22-mile long trail. Why can't I go do it? But if I wasn't able to deadlift 350 plus 400 pounds, I would have no chance. Just being physically capable. And that comes down to learning, experimenting, and really just being able to test yourself physically and being confident like in your body, in your capabilities, knowing where your limits are, and really just like having that freedom of movement. So no, I'm never gonna compete. I have no interest in competing. And if competing was the metric that I judged success, I'd be failing every day. But now I have more opportunities to succeed and more opportunities to learn because I don't care about competition at all. So that's really how you stay in this game as long as you possibly can. Just realize that, yes, there's a piece of it that is gone, but that tiny little piece, when you let go of that, actually creates the expansion to live and train and learn and educate yourself for so many more things, and kind of reset that lens of what's important and what's possible. I think that that's one thing that so many athletes run into is when their careers are over, they think that everything ends. And they don't realize how much of their life is still left, that they should be really still chasing the pursuit and going and finding out what's possible. It doesn't have to look the same, the intensity doesn't have to be the same, but I don't know, I'd like to be able to squat 315 when I'm 80. Live till I'm 120 years old and be able to like have an awesome life while I do that. The only way to do that is really tell your body that it's got to be strong and it's going to have to fight through a bunch of shit. So if you can train that every day, it makes it more possible. So many athletes just go through a depression when they're making that transition from like this warrior stage of life into trying to figure out who they are on the other side of competing and the ego and all of that. And it's just so not worth the internal battle when you can just accept that you're not the same person you were a decade ago and go have fun, learn new things, view the world through a different lens. And there are no real metrics that say good or bad like competing does, saying I beat that person, but coming at your training from a little bit more of a place of love than the I won, or I beat you, I'm good, Marnie's throwing weights at people. That's going on there for sure. All right, last one here, last set of 6. We're gonna move on.
I'll take one.